questions for Joe? John?
Joe, halfway through the third quarter or so, they have a little bit of momentum. Jalen misses a shot, and then immediately gets a steal. You guys hit a couple of three-pointers, force a timeout. What does that do there? You guys were like a little slow at the beginning of the quarter, and then you kind of got back to what you were doing. What did that play mean for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's part of just making winning plays, regardless how the game is going. And I thought that was a huge play. You know, I said it's a back tip. We get a shot, go on a little bit of a run. You know, so when you're not, there's going to be ebbs and flows to the game. You know, making winning plays, whether it's offensive rebounding. I thought we had guys sprint back and block some shots. I thought we got some great team rebounding. Those things, you know, give you a shot and they help manage runs. You know, I think it's a key. Is how can you manage runs? You know, with your execution on the offensive end, also with trying to make winning plays.
Sam and Justin.
Joe, foul trouble over here. Foul trouble seemed to be a problem for the bigs today. Took Vooch a while to get going in this game, but in the third quarter he really seemed to find his rhythm, even though he wasn't necessarily scoring the ball. What did you see from him that enabled him to make an impact that way?
Yeah, I mean, two things is we're not asking him to score. We're asking him to play basketball. And I think at the end of the day, I don't really look at it as foul trouble. I look at it as we play our rotation, play our guys. I mean, that's what we've done the entire year. It's what we'll continue to do. And I thought Vooch was great tonight in the things that we expect of him. You know, he took some open shots, but he protected the rim, kept Drummond and Bono off the glass. It's where the other guys were responsible for getting rebounds. You don't get credit when you keep your guy from getting it and someone else comes in and gets the rebound. So at the end of the day, we got to do what we got to do to win. You know, using everybody that we can. He did a great job on that tonight. All the bigs did. You know, those guards put a ton of pressure on you. So we just got to be ready to give the game what it needs. I thought they did that tonight.
Joe, Sam had a postseason career high 7 rebounds tonight. Just what did you see from his impact in that regard of the game?
Yeah, it goes back to guys keeping other guys off so we can do it. It's team rebounding. You know, it's not it's not your job to keep your guy from getting it and get it. And you know, I thought that's where our bigs were good tonight, was making sure they kept their guy from getting it, and the responsibility of the others coming back and get the ball. So Sam did a great job of that. We had some other guys, you know, make big time plays in that. It's an important key to winning basketball, regardless of when you're playing.
Joe, along those lines, you guys didn't miss a beat with Luka in there. Just how important is it for those guys, you know, team as a whole, but specifically the bigs, to stay ready in a series like this where rebounding is going to be key?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got to. You know, like I said, I think the strength of our team is we've played. I remember that one game we took like 35 substitutions. You know, like we just have a bunch of different ways that we could play. So everyone's got to be ready. You know, it's a credit to them understanding that. You take a look at Baylor and Jordan tonight as well, like 4 minutes in the first half, but they had 2 offensive rebounds. Baylor gets a floater on the baseline. Jordan gets a transition outlet for a layup. We just need guys to be ready to make plays, and they did that tonight, and we got to continue to do that.
They were one of the best teams at taking care of the ball during the regular season. Some of those turnovers today were self-inflicted, but from the defensive side of that impact on forcing some of those turnovers, what stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the key is they still are one of the best teams of taking care of the ball, and so we have to be able to, we understand that, and there's things that we're going to have to be able to do. You know, so some of that was obviously self-inflicted, like you said, and some of it we did a good job with our, you know, our positioning and our activity, you know, and some of the things that we can control. And it kind of goes back to that, is we just got to focus on the stuff that we can control on both ends of the floor.
Hey, Joe, 21, 8 and 4 for Jayson in the first half. He obviously came out tremendously in that first quarter. How did you assess his performance on both ends?
Defensively, I thought it was really good. His rebounding was great. Understanding of, you know, he changed matchups, you know, 6, 7, 8 times throughout the game. I thought that was great there. Offensively, just gave the game what it needed. He was seen in aggressive pick and roll coverage. With that, you got to be able to make the right play for yourself and others. I thought he did a great job of that. Gave the game what it needed. You know, we got to continue to do that.
Gary, then Jack.
Joe, it seems like there was a level of professionalism. You guys had a week off. You had every reason to kind of play a little rusty, have slippage, maybe let them sneak one. I mean, It just seemed like you guys took care of business from the beginning. What brings that mentality on? Is that built culture?
I mean, it's two things. I mean, one, we have to, you know, we have to have an understanding of, I thought we got off to a good start in the series, and two, it really doesn't matter anymore because, you know, in 48 hours we got to do it again, and you expect a better version of both. We have to expect a better version of both our opponent and ourselves. So I think, you know, the maturity and like you were saying, the maturity, the competitive character of our guys to stick to the process of winning and give us a shot every night is consistent. I thought we had a good week of practice. I thought we got off to a good start. But that's just the beginning of a long series, and we got to be ready to take that on.
Joe, this whole week leading up to this, you've talked about how the playoffs are the same, and what it means to win is the same, but you have to up the intensity. How did you feel like you guys responded to that message in this game, and what areas do you think, as you said, like it's a little different in the playoffs? You expect a different version of the same opponent night after night after night. How do you expect or want them to respond to that after tonight?
Who, us?
Yeah.
I mean, we just got to continue to get better. I mean, tomorrow is the same process as it was during the preseason, during the regular season. Here's a list of things that we did well. Here's a list of things that we got to get better at. Here's some things that we can anticipate, and here's, regardless of what's going on around us, we have to execute. So just keep the process the same and continue to get better.
Joe, for a lot of these guys, effectively, this was their playoff debut. Like, after a game like this, do you have a message for them about, being kind of proud of that, but also knowing that this is a game, like you said, and not getting too overly excited about a game one blowout, knowing that there's a lot ahead?
I think it goes back to Gary's point. It's not, there's just it shows great professionalism and maturity, and it also shows that it's not any different. I mean, you have to offensive rebound in the regular season. You have to sprint to get a transition layup. You have to defend without fouling. You have to know your personnel. You have to do all the things that you can control, and it's a credit to those guys being ready to do that. And I think we had guys make big plays throughout. All the starters, but I think the key of Vooch, Jordan, Luka, Nemi, Baylor. Those guys being able to stick to the process of winning and be consistent and how they've helped us get to this point. We continue to do that as a team.
Final couple questions in the middle, and then Jay.
Hi, Joe. During the fourth quarter of the game, fans in the arena started to mocking and chanting, "We want Boston." And based on the history of those two teams, what kind of energy do you think that had to the series?
I didn't really think anything of it. I mean, I think that's just part of, like you're saying, there's a history to the series, which you have to appreciate. But at the same time, we have to focus on the task at hand and the most important thing and the stuff that we can control. I thought our fans were great tonight. Helped us get off to a good start. Playoff basketball is obviously, it means more and is different in Boston, which we appreciate. But and then we move on, and how can we get better?
Jayson was pretty open about the vulnerabilities and kind of the doubts he experienced throughout the process of returning. How have you seen him rebuild that confidence, if that's the right term, and where do you think he is now in that process as a player?
I think he just built it through work. I think he built it through work, built it through having great people around him, his teammates, his family, trainers, people. He has a lot of great people in his life, so I think he built that through just a work ethic. I think he built that through, just knowing where he was and where he wanted to get to. And, I kind of go back to, where he didn't distance himself and being around, with us the whole time. And, I think, we needed him, he needed us, we needed each other, we all need each other. So, and where he's at now, I think he's continuing to get better and better. I think he's focused on the stuff that matters most, his health, continuing to get better and giving the game what it needs on both ends of the floor.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. Good night, Jayson and Jalen.